This is Israel Silva. I want to welcome you to Increase Your Income Challenge. This is our business challenge, 12 weeks. We're going to have a great time. We talk about the 5 components of business: marketing, sales, operations, administration, and accounting. This is week 2. It's called Define Your 12-Week Goals. Define your 12-week goals. In 12 weeks, we want to change your business. We want to increase your income. So let's see how we're going to do that. Now, I want to ask you a question. Name the one thing you've perfected over time. Might be a recipe. Maybe you've perfected your cake making process. Or maybe you can make the best enchiladas or the best chili. What is it that you can do very, very well? I bet you didn't do that perfectly on the first time. I bet it's been an iterative process and you're probably still working on that process. Or maybe grandma passed down her chili recipe, or you just maybe found it on the internet. But you found this great recipe, and when you implement the process and you do it, you get this great what? Food, this great soup, this great chili, this great whatever steak. I'm still learning how to do the steak. I don't know how to do it. I end up cooking it forever and it's dry as a rubber tire, but I'm working on it. So one thing you perfected over time. So you might say I perfected, whatever it is you do at work or in your business. And so that's what we want to do is we want to perfect what you do in your business to increase your income. So today we're going to learn about, number 1, how to set 12-week goals. That'll be one of the things we're going to work on. Number 2 is to develop the quest to achieve your 12-week goals. And number 3 is to learn to play the 12-week activity game. That's a game right there. 12-week activity game. That's what we're going to have fun doing and look forward to going over that with you. So it's going to be a fun one. Okay, so first part is setting your 12-week goals. Well, how do you set 12-week goals for your business? Number 1 is you have to have a vision, right? So in our last lesson, week 1, we talked about creating the vision. And I asked you to create a 5-year vision, a 1-year vision, and a 12-week vision. In that vision, you're talking about your life. You're talking about your business life. You're talking about your personal life. And we're going to focus on the business portion, but you still could do this with your own personal vision, your own personal goals, whether that's your health, eating right, exercising, your relationships. You can do this process in that aspect as well. But here we're talking about your business. So we want you to look at your review. That's the first step, is to review your 5-year, 1-year, and your 12-week vision. Like, what do I want to be doing? Review that. Think about that. Now, some people had a vision that they wanted to have, so much money in revenue per month or so many customers. That's what you want to think about. And if you have not created your vision statements, go back, watch last week's lesson. It's on vision and goals, but watch that lesson, and it's on the website, financialchampionacademy.com/challenge. It's in the challenge page. Now go there. Now that's your first step. Review your statements. And when I want you to review your vision statements, I want you to think about, a vision statement should say, I see this. I see my life this way. I see my business this way. Now, that's the vision. The goals we're going to talk about is, how do you get to that vision? What are the things that need to happen to get to that vision? So based on your 12-week vision and the 5 components of business, that's where we integrate this all into together. And it's like one big recipe. I want you to define 1 to 2 business goals for your 12 weeks. 1 to 2 business goals to accomplish in the next 12 weeks. That's what you need to work on. 1 to 2. You could do 3 or 4, but it might be a lot because you're going to break down these goals here in a second. Now, I want to show you an example. And some of this, I'll just share. Okay, vision to goals. This is the example. I'm going to go from the vision to your goals. So let's pretend here that you have a vision. This might be my vision. At the end of 12 weeks, I see my business with 25 customers, $3,750 in monthly revenue, and a new staff, like additional staff members, like a virtual assistant. Who can raise their hand on that one? Virtual assistant, video editor, and social media manager. I have looked at this for my own self, and I'm just sharing with you about my own business and how I'm trying to teach more business owners and trying to take them through this challenge. What I find out is I'm challenged myself by not having enough time. Does anybody ever have that feeling? Not enough time? Well, that's because you probably need to read the books I've been reading is Who Not How and Buy Back Your Time. And so I'll be talking about those books more in this series. But one of the things you have to do is you have to realize you can't do everything. So my vision is to have these customers, to have this revenue, and have help. That's my vision. That's what I need to do. And so in that, I'm going to take that and I'm going to try to produce goals. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details here, but I'm going to try to break it down a little bit because this vision can be broken down into several things. One, it can be broken down into customers. Two, like revenue, defining the revenue. And then three, the staff that I need to have. Those are three major goals. So I'm not going to go over all of those, but I'm going to go over one of them. So let's talk about goal number one. And I'm going to talk about getting those 25 customers. So my vision is to have 25 customers at the end of 12 weeks. My goal is I'm going to use marketing. To get customers, you have to have qualified leads. That's just what it comes down to. I heard a presentation by a guy who was a financial coach, and he went from basically making $1,500 a year to making $1 million a year. And he said the key is to spend all your time and attention to try to find customers, to try to have and create customers. That everything you do should be pointed towards leads, lead generation. And it made me think about that. So again, what I'm looking at is trying to generate 1,300 qualified leads through my webinar, podcasts, social media, and discovery calls. And so that is a goal. And why did I say 1,300? Well, basically, you can convert 2 to 3% of your leads. If you get that many leads, you're going to convert 2 to 3%. Now, some people are better than me, but I'm just trying to take a very conservative approach that if you have 1,300, 10% is 130, 1% is 13. So if I want to get 2%, that's 26. So if I can convert 2% of my 1,300 leads, I will get 25 to 26 customers, paying customers. That's why I chose that number of 1,300. So try to shoot for whatever number of customers you want. If this is your goal, think about that as being the 2%. And you need to get 98% more in leads. So that is my first goal. And that's going to be a marketing goal. I'm going to shoot for trying to bring awareness to 1,300 people about my business. And I'm going to use these different items, webinar, podcasts, social media, and discovery calls. So that's goal number one. And I want to go from there to develop Quest to reach the goal. So what I did is, and again, I have several goals in my vision statement. One had to do with customers, second was revenue, and third was staff. Each one of those needs to be its own goal. But for now, I'm just focused on the customers. And from the goal, I'm going to start developing the Quest. So the way it works is you have a goal, you have a quest, which is the milestone. It's like the major milestone to reach your goal. And then you have activities, which is the finest, the smallest task that you have to reach your quest. And then if you get your quest done, eventually you'll reach your goal. So that's what it comes down. So number one, identify each major milestone of your goal and define them as your quest. Each milestone of your goal is defined as your quest. So that's really it. Goal is the big one. Quest is the milestone, and activities are the fine, small units that you complete to complete your quest, and then get your goal completed. So number 2 is the quest should create 3 to 4 activities. So each quest will have 3 to 4 activities. You might have 2 activities. Usually your quest won't be one activity because then it would just be one thing. So think about your quest as big chunks, and then your activities are the smaller pieces. And the activities are going to be the measurable part. Your quest should be measurable, have a timeline, and due dates for your activities. But your quest, let's say if you had 4 activities in your quest, that's what makes it measurable. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you got 3 done out of your 4 in that week, you did okay. Be nice to have 4 out of 4. But that's what you want to do is create the quest. It should be measurable and have a timeline. So my 12 weeks, I want to get so many done in week 1, week 2, week 3, and then you want to have due dates. So let's take an example here that I'll create it here. So for my example of getting 25 customers, what I can do, quest number 1 is use a webinar. Okay. And I do that right now. I've been doing webinars like once every 3 or 4 months. And again, I'm going off of an example from a person who made $1 million in a year. And one of the things he did was he looked at doing webinars on a monthly basis. So it doesn't have to be a very big webinar. It just has to be something that gets attention, right? We're talking about reach, getting qualified leads. So not everybody's going to tune into your webinar, but the people who do tune in to your webinar and stay the whole time, those people become qualified leads. And that's who you're trying to reach, is those qualified leads. Okay, so then monthly. So I'm going to look at my webinar being like the first Saturday of each month at 1 p.m. So that's what I'm working on. That's what my goal is. I'm putting a timeline to it. I'm putting a deadline to it. And that's webinars quest number 1. Now, quest number 2 is going to be my podcast. Now, I speak all the time. I record things all the time, but I've never made it like a regular weekly thing. And that's what I'm going to do. And really and truly, these teachings, this is really my podcast. That's what this is. I do it every week anyway, so might as well call it my podcast. It's the Increase Your Income Challenge podcast. Hey, there you go. And what I'll do is I'll make a 5 to 10 minute lesson. And if you heard me long enough, you know that it's hard for me just to speak 5 to 10 minutes. But it'll usually go at least 5 to 10 minutes. And I'm going to have a lesson and a story, and a lesson and a story. And that's what I'm trying to do, share what the story I'm going through, my own Financial Champion Academy, and how I'm using this information to build up my business. So my quest number 2 is that podcast. I have a weekly podcast that I get sent out. Now, the things I'm going to have to work on and some of the activities are going to be defined later, but those activities are going to have to be like setting it up, getting the streaming portion, all those details. Now, quest number 3, social media. Now, I post on social media once, maybe twice a week, sometimes once a month. It just depends. Now, if I'm taking it from the guy who had a recipe, and his recipe said you do this many webinars, you do this many podcasts, he had 3 posts per day. Now, if you're like me, you're like, 3 posts on social media per day? How do you do that? Well, it's called scheduling the post. And it's also called getting a virtual assistant, getting a social media manager. Remember I told you that you don't have to do this all yourself? You got to find the who that knows how. That is why one of my goals was having that staff. I realize that I can't do all this. But if it's needed, if it's necessary to reach that income goal, then I'm going to have to get some help. And that's more on this series. We're going to be talking about operations and in automating things and creating our SOPs or standard operating procedures. That's all coming more. But understand that this is going to be one of my quests to do this social media, to have posts. And I'm a Zoho affiliate. If you ever heard of Zoho, that's a software that they use for your business. And so one of the things that I know Zoho offers, and there's other things out there that does this, but it's social media. There's a program called Zoho Social, and you can schedule all your posts. and it schedules it in Facebook, LinkedIn, X, what's the other bigger ones? The TikTok and Instagram. So it posts that all in there, and YouTube. And so I can just go to that software, put it in there, and pick my platform, and it'll post it for me. That is something I can get my virtual assistant or my social media manager to work with me on that. Do you see how this is working? You've got to get the information out there. Marketing is about bringing awareness to your business. So that's what I'm going to work on, is trying to get daily, schedule my posts so that it lands 1 to 3 posts per day. It could be a picture, it could be information, something that's helpful, useful to my audience. That's what I'm trying to do, bringing that out. Now, number 4 quest is discovery calls. Now, this is something I hadn't really done a lot of, but the person who I looked at this video, I can't remember his name right now, but he was a tattoo artist who became a financial coach. And I'm like, wow. And in 4 years, he went from $1,500 a year to $1 million a year in revenue. Now, pretty amazing. And he said that they had like 3,400 qualified leads that he generated. And out of the 3,400, he had 700 and I think it was about 730 discovery calls. That's where he like had a call with a potential customer, talked with them. And out of that 730, 227 paying clients that he was able to make out of that. He had like a 32% closure rate. Now, thinking about that, I'm looking at that for myself. If I want 25 clients, well, I do the math, and I figured out I had to do at least 10 calls per week. If I do 10 calls per week in a 12-week series, that's 120. Let's say I take a week or two off. I did 100, and I got 25 of the 100. That'd be a 25% closure rate. You guys following me? Think about that. If you can get them on the phone with you, and he was direct messaging people who were following his post or following his videos. So you have to reach out to them. So that's one of the things. And you say, can we have a call? Put a big button on your website that says, discovery call. I have that on mine. But I need to do 10 per week. Wow, that sounds like a lot. Anyway, these are the quests. You need to define the quest for yourself, for your own business, and think about that. It's based on your goal, and then you define your goal into quest, and then from quest, we're going to talk about activities. So what do now is you play the 12-week activity game. That's what I'm calling it. Play the 12-week activity game. Number 1, you break down each quest into 3 to 5 activities per week. So you break down your quest. If it's a podcast, if it's a webinar, what do I need to do? What are the specific activities I need to do for each one of these quests? And that's what you do. Break down the quest into activities. That's number 1. Number 2, create a point system. Create a point system to stay accountable with each quest. The hard part here, and again, I'm learning something from the tattoo artist financial coach, is that he said he had to create a point system for him. So this is pretty much something, again, the recipe that he followed. Create the point system that you can follow on your activities. So your activities and your quest, all of these have different point systems that you're going to create. Now, you're going to keep, number 3, a scoreboard of your activities. So the scoreboard every week tells you how many points you scored. You're going to have that on a spreadsheet. You're going to have that on pencil and paper. You're going to keep score of yourself. Now, again, this is where in the Financial Champion Academy, we want to buddy up with you. We want you to work with our community members. If you're not in the FCA, the Financial Champion Academy, you can buddy up with another person, a friend, do this together. Now, that's number 3. Keep a score card or a scoreboard for yourself. Number 4 is I want you to set a winning score for you. Set a winning score that you're going to shoot for at the end of the 12 weeks. So let's say I want to have 300 points or 500 points. That's what I need to have. That's what you need to do. Set that winning score. Now, an example may be, and again, I didn't get into a lot of detail here, but I'm just giving you some examples. So like daily for 1 point is every every social media post is 1 point. So if I do that 3 times a day, and let's say I do that 5 times a week, so that's 5 times 3, that's 15 points per week. And let's say I did that, 12 weeks. If I did that 10, that'd be 15 times 10 is 150. Two more is 30, so that'd be 180 points that I would score for the 12 weeks if I did a daily post, a post every 3 times a day for 5 days a week. That's 180 points. Now, can I do 180 points? I don't know, but I can shoot for it. I can definitely say I'm going to do my best to get maybe 150 of those 180 possible daily points. So this is where it gets a little fun. This is where it becomes a game. We want to gamify this and challenge yourself. Now, weekly, anything it's going to take weekly, you're going to call that 5 points. So if I do a weekly discovery call or I do a weekly podcast, I should get 5 points to myself. And if I did that for 10 weeks, that'd be 50. If I did it for 12 weeks, that'd be 60 points. So if I did 12 podcasts, hey, this is podcast number 2. That's 2 times 5. That's 10. Keep on going. I'll get the 60. Actually, that would be, 5 and 5. That's 10 so far. And I have 10 more weeks. So I'll have 50. So I'll have 60 total points on my activity game. And that's for the podcast. Then if I did calls, and I want to do 10 calls per week, and if that's what I'm trying to do, that becomes my number to shoot for. And so I'm going to get 5 points to get those 10 calls. I just set that up. And that's what I'm shooting for. And the same thing with monthly. Anything that you're doing these monthly webinars, that's going to be 20 points. So if I did that in the next 12 weeks, that's 3 months, 4, 8, 12, 3 months, that would be 60 points. So basically, I can make 60 points in my monthly, I can make 120 points in my weeklies, and I can make 180 points in my dailies. And you have to decide what's the winning score. Maybe that's 75%. Maybe it's 80%. That's what you need to decide. Only you can figure out. You need to set your goals and push yourself. Now, this is where an ally would be really, really, really great. Maybe you have a friend who has their own business and you're saying, hey, I got this increase your income challenge and I'm doing this. Do you want to do it with me? You can increase your income too for your business. And this is how we're going to do it. Right? This is fun, guys. This is fun. So I'm hoping that you're going to take this in and we can work on this together. So that is the 12-week activity game. I didn't have a creative name, so I just called it the 12-week activity game. We can come up with a better name next time. But you have point system for daily, weekly, and monthly activities that will fulfill your quest. So that is what you're working on. Now, again, we always do this in a challenge format. You know, if you're here watching this, you're in the challenge. And if you're setting a goal, like we just talked about, like I had set the goal for 25 customers at $3,750 revenue and having a staff, those are some 3 different goals that I've set. Now the activities, we just went over that. We created the quest, we created the activities, and we have a point system that'll help us go through that. Now the villains, you got to do this for yourself. Write down the things that are going to hold you back. Where do you spend your time at? Because all this comes down to time. Where do you spend your time at right now? And what can you cut back? Is there a villain that's holding you back? Like maybe you watch too much TV and that's a TV villain that sucks up all your time. Or maybe you have some activity that you don't really have to do, but you just do it every week. Maybe you can cut that back. Whatever that villain is, you have to quantify that and then create a strategy to defeat that villain to help you continue to do this. And then your power-ups, that's the motivation, that's the inspiration, that's the thing that keeps you going, that's going to help you keep on in this 12-week challenge. Write those down and activate them. We talked about getting your allies together. That's important. To do this challenge, get some allies. Get them on board with you. Talk about, hey, let's do this challenge together. You know, this is a weekly thing for 12 weeks. And then if you even start halfway through, continue. We do it, we do it every 12 weeks. We basically do 12 weeks, take a few weeks off, go back to 12 weeks, take a few weeks off. If you keep doing this, you're going to reach your goals. And then the other part here is adopt a secret identity. It could be the entrepreneur who never procrastinates and has a healthy community. I don't know, whatever you want to create, but look at the person you want to be and try to become that person. That's what this is about. Is like, see yourself as that successful person. Look at the heroes in your life and see what they've done. That is what I'm asking you to do, is create that secret identity. Last thing is celebrate the victory. Like we want to celebrate at the end of 12 weeks. We want you to just create a celebration, whether it's a pizza party or an ice cream party or a coffee party, whatever it is. Celebrate with your allies and the people who helped you, but create the celebration now so that you can see yourself achieving it. So that is the Increase Your Income Challenge. Your action items for this week are create your quest and your activities. Create the quest. Of course, you already know you have your goals. If you don't have your goals, create your goals, but create the goals from your vision. And then your quest and activities. Number 2 is set up your 12-week activity game. Set that up, put a point system, look this over, get some ideas. Number 3, implement the 12-week activity game in your business. So get that going, get the activity game going into your business, and let's have fun on you achieving your goals. So again, this is the Financial Champion Academy. I hope you will join our community. Watch us on YouTube. Watch us at financialchampionacademy.com/challenge. You can join the challenges there. And we just want to hear more from you. Put some comments in our YouTube page. But we hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and we will talk to you again next week.